What's up, Airheads? Guess what? I know this is a little different. You're going to be back to your regularly scheduled program here pretty shortly. This is about to be the third episode of Putting On Airs, but we thought it might be prudent to break down a few things for you, let you know how grateful we are for you being here thus far, but also just sort of make you hip to some information, I guess, as it were. Yes, Joe?
Yeah, and first off, sincerely, the response to the show so far has been overwhelming and awesome, and the comments have been great. And it's just as we suspected. People were gonna dig what we did here because it's super fun and we're having a blast doing it. If you haven't already subscribed or rated and reviewed us on your favorite podcast app, that would be super cool because it really helps us out move up the rankings. We debuted, by the way, in the iTunes Top 100. And we'd like to stay there, and we can with people like you.
Right. Yeah. And so if it's not clear already, I'm sure many of you all have already ascertained as much. But okay, so Corey lives in Georgia. I live in LA. Our studio is in my guest house in LA. We film these in batches. Corey comes out, stays for a few days, and we do a bunch of them all together. So it's the best we can do considering we're 2,500 miles apart. So what that means is they are not, current necessarily. So what we intend to do about that part, which is why most of the content on there is supposed to be evergreen in nature, like it's not going to feel old or stale. But what we are going to do is what you're listening to right now. Each week, we're going to get together via the internet and sort of like catch up on any current stuff, also read any comments or reviews and things like that. Very important note, this part of the show after this episode, this will be at the end of every regular episode of Putting On Airs from this week forward. We're putting it at the front end this time just as sort of a public service announcement type deal. But we're going to do that so we can sort of like keep in touch with, the actual present, given that we film these in batches and they come out weeks after the fact. So that's the idea. We also maybe we might in the future interview some guests potentially, and if we do that, it will be done this way, probably be done remotely, and we'll go at the end of the episode too. So that's our plan. The primary chunk of the show that you've seen so far will continue to be as much. We're just going to add this little addendum to sort of keep things current. Also, I'll try to at least put on some kind of fake fancy coat in the future. By the way, Corey came prepared. I'm wearing my Grizzlies t-shirt. I went to find some, but it looks like my wife has put all my entire fancy wardrobe in the goddamn garage. So
which is pretty extensive. That wardrobe is getting pretty out of hand, as every time I come out there to film these, we go to the Goodwill and use the Putting On Airs company credit card, as it were, and just wear that thing out. Hey, down here, I've put, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to puttingonairs@gmail.com, and that's where you're going to be able to send us fan letters, stuff you'd like to hear on the show. And if you send us funny things, we're going to read them during this segment at the end. And by the way, Trae, I don't know if I've told you, but you mentioned we were going to start doing some guests. I've got some pretty heavy hitters that have already reached out to me. They are new Airheads, and they would like to come on the show, and I personally can't wait.
No, hell yeah, it's going to be a good time. So, yeah, we need to think of something to call this little segment here, but we'll figure that out later, I suppose.
The postscript, that sounds fancy.
Yeah, the postscript. Okay, this is the inaugural pre-script edition of the postscript. But from starting next week, from then on, it'll be the postscript. Yeah, I see. Let's just do that. You nailed it.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so we hope you all enjoy this forthcoming episode of Putting On Airs. Do you probably shouldn't even ask this question? Do you remember what this one is?
I do not, Trae.
The third one?
Yeah. I don't remember what it is, but I'm sure that we have put out several promos about what it is. And I bet you, can I guess? I probably talk about someone from European history, and you lay out the Venn diagram of where fancy people and rednecks come together.
Yeah, you probably are right about that. But whatever it is we're talking about, we hope you enjoy it. And yeah, please remember to, if you're watching on YouTube, it would still hit for us if you would subscribe on a podcast app.
Yeah.
If you ever get on those, any of that stuff, subscribing, sharing, liking, all that stuff,
retweeting, all that stuff. We're
silly,
on
silly internet stuff, but very much, necessary and helpful. So we would appreciate it. And it costs y'all nothing, but,
Helps
means
us
everything
a lot. Oh,
to
look at
us.
that. My alarm's going off. And hey, we're on Putting On Airs pod on most of the socials. Retweet us on stuff. Send us tweets. We'll retweet your tweets about our things, and we'll keep this fancy community going. But hey, enjoy this episode of Putting On Airs here on Fancy Friday.
Oh, Fancy Friday. Yeah.
Gonna get it over. Gonna get that over.
What's up, Airheads? Welcome back to Puttin On Airs. I'm Trae Crowder.
Hello, my name is Corey Ryan Forrester, the Lord of the Manor.
Corey Ryan Forrester.
Hello,
Here with
Trae.
us today, back in the manor, as you put it. Yes, ready to perform some other japeries.
What's japeries mean? Comedy?
Monkey shines, you know. It's funny shit that hits, I think.
Yeah, I've been real good at japeries back
You're
then.
a japing ass motherfucker,
For
dude.
sure.
You jape your ass off.
By the way, add that to the list. Things that aren't racist but sound racist. Japing, that definitely sounds racist.
Yeah, we could elaborate more. I guess we will.
I'm not, because then it will get into we've turned it racist. But
it rhymes with a horrific word and also starts with the first three letters of a slur. So you combine those together and it's like, you got something that sounds rough, but as far as I know, isn't. It may be racist in nature.
Maybe.
So many things are without us knowing. It's
my
like
racism math goes really good. Immediately put those together.
The origin of japing could be them pranking the savages in the colonies they had or something, for all I know.
I mean, not for nothing, but it's just been, and I think it's fine if I say it in explaining that I know it's bad now, but just very, 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 very recently did I know that when you say someone gypped you,
I know. Gypsy. I never had a clue.
And for the record, this is I won't say it. I'm not going to use it in that connotation anymore, but that never crossed my mind.
We got to the fourth episode and we're canceled.
Well, Corey also referenced our fake band, Gypsy Speedboat.
That's an homage, though.
Yeah, right. Okay.
The word gypsy's fine.
I don't think it is. It's not. That's why gyp is a problem, is because gypsy isn't fine. But
because
I want
you're
to
saying it in
say
a negative connotation. I think if you say, look at those dirty fucking gypsies, that's bad.
Yeah, sure.
Don't isolate that clip. But I'm saying the word gypsy is still a way to describe the Romanis,
I also feel like,
could be wrong.
And whatever, fuck me if I'm wrong on this. I'm sure I am. But it's just the fact that we don't have dude, in Europe, gypsies are a whole thing over there. We don't really have gypsies in this country. So there's not
when we think of gypsies, we just think of the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, or fucking Go-Go Bordello and shit like that, or Peaky Blinders, it's
whereas over there they say fag
as a cigarette.
Right.
I really think in this country it's not, no one ever says gypsy in a
negative,
racist or derogatory way, because we don't even really know about gypsies, but that's fun. So
hey guys,
turn
those candles on.
We will do that. Thank you, producer Russ. We will turn them on while I'm saying this.
Yeah, sure.
As an aside, I hope this plays as well as it did for me, but one of the funniest things that I've noticed on the internet in recent years, well, it's funny and it's also fucked up, as the internet often is, is that on a recent episode we were talking about fuck people in Europe for talking about how racist we are. You're the goddamn colonials, right? Well, there's another example of that where the internet, people from the other parts of white Earth, Europe and stuff, the Western world, loves to talk about how racist America is, but
and we are,
of course we are. But buddy, you let gypsies get brought up on the internet, and the comments will explode with European racism. And what's funny is, on Reddit, when that happens, Americans will be in there saying wow, y'all are being really racist right now. And the Europeans are always they're always,
y'all ain't got a goddamn deal with them.
No, they're literally, they're like, no, listen, you don't understand. It's not like American racism, okay? It's fundamentally different, because there's a very key thing that you need to understand that Americans just can't understand, and that is that gypsies don't hit. Like literally, they go this whole thing. They're like they're lazy.
And then
they
just describe
steal
the exact same things that our racists say about
black
Mexicans and
people
black
or
people.
Mexican.
Right.
Exactly, it's
Right.
exactly the same. They're like they're lazy. They're racist. It's part of their culture to be worthless. Like just all this shit.
Right.
And then the Americans will be in there being like, "That's real racist." All that
like
shit you're
that
saying.
Spider-Man meme where they're just like pointing to Spider-Man's pointing.
They're
at each
like
other.
that's exactly what our racists say about black people or whatever, and they're always like, "No,
Again,
it's like Americans. They never understand the nuances. No, you don't. They don't hit.
They stink.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Jesus God, man.
And but again, over here, none of that is a thing.
It's true, but
with
again,
gypsies, we don't have none of that with gypsies specifically. And again, we've said gypsies a million times, and apparently, I guess
for the record,
that is,
again, I'm very willing to be wrong. I just always thought that like the actual word gypsy was still like the word Mexican, like. If you're talking about somebody from Mexico or whatever, you say Mexican.
Now,
so it's the connotation, what you're saying. If you go, oh, that guy is Mexican, that's fine to say. But if you go, I swear to God, all these fucking Mexicans, then it's like, that's not a good thing. Or you're acting all Mexican-y.
I felt and feel the same way. I'm saying based on,
You don't think I'm correct?
I think that, I actually think it's closer to the word Indian. Right.
While some find the term gypsy to be offensive, many stakeholders and witnesses were proud to associate themselves with this term, and so we have decided that it is right and proper to use it where appropriate throughout the report.
I just said it's kind of like the term Indian in this country.
Right.
Like, it's a straight up fact. You can fucking look it up. Some tribes, some native people or whatever, are totally down with the word Indian.
Right.
Even despite the fucking hilariously offensive manner in which that word came about, you know, that Louis bit's like, you're Indians.
Yeah.
Still, some of them are totally cool with Indian, and other ones are not. Other tribes and other peoples are not. And I think gypsy is like that.
Okay.
Like that thing just
So
said.
basically, like, people just go, people that want to say it go, oh, they're all right with it. You know, it's fun.
Yeah, but some of those actual people are like, yeah, we're fine with it.
Right.
And some of them are like, we're not fine with it. So it makes it complicated.
There's no reason for me ever to say it again unless I'm doing a recap of Peaky Blinders and I'm quoting something that they said. But, like, again.
Well, also, I just really think there's no hate in our heart.
Of course.
For any
but
of
really, this all started from,
Is it-
I genuinely did not know. Like, when I was saying you gypped me, the word gypsy
never entered into my mind.
Didn't even know that it had anything to do with gypsies. Like, I wouldn't have even spelled it that way. I would have been like JIP if you'd have asked me.
Right.
And also, if I may say, the reason that, from my point of view, a lot of people where I'm from started saying you gypped me on that is because they were replacing it with a thing that they used to say, which everybody was like, whoa, man, come on, which was, do you know?
You Jewed me down.
Jewed me down.
Jewed me down. Yes.
Right.
And it's
essentially
used the exact same way. It's used the exact same way.
It's used the exact same way, except for in their brain, they're like, we don't have them. Also, I don't think they knew what jib meant. They were just like, okay, this is, it's like replacing damn with dang in their mind. They were like, this will mean the same thing, but it's not a bad word.
Which, like, you know, hell, that's a form of progress. You know what's funny?
They're trying.
You know what's funny is, yes,
they replace it with another racist.
Racist rednecks.
It's like Splenda.
Who actually are, like, trying to make a somewhat progressive effort to not be that way anymore. It's like, oh, I can't say Jude me down anymore. Okay. Right. And then the thing they land on is also a racist phrase.
It's just racist from 10,000 miles away. So it's like,
that is so Raven.
It is
as
very
they
Raven.
Say, of our Raven. People. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I've never even thought about that, but that's so like, that's the definition of like, man, look, they just can't help it. Like, they're really trying, but like, they can't. Even when they try to do better, they can't.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk to you about. So, you know, we're comedians here in this country, and one thing I've noticed, we talk. Yeah, right. Hey, you're the one who said ostensibly this time.
I know, that was my joke. I'm a comedian.
Normally, that's my thing. Yeah, but I don't think they know that yet. I say ostensibly and tangentially a lot because I'm pretentious. And actually, on that note, so I'm pretentious in a lot of ways, and it's part of my whole thing, I would argue, as a comedian. It's like, but it's got the redneck aspect to it, so it's like, he said a smart thing in a dumb way. Right. Love it.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's like, that's what makes it interesting, I guess.
Right.
But over there being the UK, England.
Yeah, you're pretentious as a gimmick.
Right. So, well, it's
very
who
real.
I really am.
And it's funny,
but
too,
thank
because,
you.
like,
it is also a gimmick.
Me and you have talked many times that, like, me and you act the complete opposite of how we should act.
Based on our upbringing?
Based on our upbringing.
Yes.
Like, based on our
right.
upbringing, I should act like you, and you should be a fucking dipshit moron like I am.
Because you grew up in relative comfort and privilege in Chickamauga, Georgia. Your parents were well off and stuff, and my mama's a pillbilly, fucking torn, dysfunctional family, broken home, poverty, all that stuff's what I have. But I'm like the one who's always trying to talk about fucking foreign films and be all
overcorrected in
some
way.
Yeah. But so I'm saying, I say big words and shit like that as part of my whole deal as a comedian, and I hope it hits for people. But one thing I've noticed is over there in England and the UK, it's like there's like a whole genre of comedians who are that like unironic.
Right.
It's not ironic for me, but it seems ironic because it's a redneck doing it, and so it plays. Well, over there, they have like Stephen Fry and David Mitchell and Jimmy Carr and all the. I mean, he'll mention all these dudes. Fucking Eddie Izzard was massive, and they're all like
different of a situation because he's also got that. I'm kind of a
Mick
Jagger weirdo kind of
rock star.
This is a great example of how I, too, use big words, but I always use them in the wrong way. What I meant to say was androgynous, but I almost said he's ambidextrous. That's the thing I do. Like, I know all the big words that you know. I just never know where to put them.
Well, it kind of plays because ambidextrous is like, he can do both. He goes both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is androgynous. Yeah, sort of in the same ballpark. But I'm saying over there, people are totally fine with and even really appreciate comedians being like, intelligent and well-spoken and erudite and stuff. And I feel like in this country, people don't want that from comedians. Comedians they have to be self-deprecating and they've got to be relatable and everyman. And they're like, I'm a dummy.
Is that relatable over there, though?
Listen, comics over here, maybe, right? You might be onto something. But comics over here, we have plenty of brilliant comedians. Of course we do. Dave Chappelle's a genius. Chris Rock's a genius. Fucking Bill Burr's a genius. But every one of those guys...
It doesn't come off that way.
That's not
their
part of
whole thing.
That's
is
not
to
part
go,
of
look how
their
smart
thing.
I am.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they don't seem brilliant, but they are.
Like you have to break
the
down
thing
all their
over
shit
here.
to go like he doesn't like you looking at them they don't seem, but if you really understand their material.
But over there, Stephen Fry writes like scholarly fucking book series on Greek mythology
does lectures
and
at
shit
Oxford
like
and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't do that in this country with comedians, right?
I'm actually lecturing at America University in October, but speak for yourself.
I've lectured at multiple colleges over the years. Well, I have. You're the one who made it a thing.
Well,
it didn't have to be a thing. You made it a thing.
I know. I was just pointing out that, like, I'm also, what some may consider.
Yeah, it'll be your first time at a college, so that'll be fun.
It really will be. I didn't go, but they're going to let me talk at it.
So, I opened up the main stage at the Forbes 30 under 30 thing a few years ago.
And while you were doing that, I got drunk at this. I went with you, and I got drunk and waded in a cranberry bog.
Yeah. Both just in our element.
Yeah, with like right next to Chrissy Teigen, like it was a whole thing. We had a blast.
But I'm saying, do you agree with what I'm saying?
Yes.
What do you think is up with that?
I don't know.
Like, are there any examples of American comedians you could think of that?
Mark Maron.
Okay, yeah.
But again though, he's not prim and proper. Like he's still a schlubby kind. That's not an insult for the record. But I mean, Mark Maron. I don't think he smokes cigarettes anymore. But he was still like that dark, intellectual, like
drug addict,
exactly all that. But like that is
kind of rock and roll,
and that is his whole thing. Is like I'm doing sort of heady comedy, but like it's not the norm. Bill Hicks was that, but then Bill Hicks, like George Carlin was that. But these are all people who aren't, beside from Mark Maron, aren't working today. Like I think that like, over here, it's comedy in general is like, I need someone, I don't want to ever be talked down to. I want people to talk with me and explain things. And when you're super, super intellectual, it's almost impossible not to speak down to people because you're so much smarter than them. But like we want comedians we want to relate to them, but then go, oh my God, I never thought about it like that. And I think that really what happens in America is like in the past several years, we found out like what most people are, which is just slop dumb,
stupid.
So we're like, well, if we got to relate to these people,
fucking
like
slack jawed, hang dog,
yokels,
shits.
yes,
right.
So like. That's what most comedians are going to try to do. And you've got this breed of comedians who like come off stupid. But if you really go through because here's, Larry the Cable Guy, for example.
Yeah.
Not dumb at all. And also
nobody who hits that hard
is dumb.
can be dumb.
And also, like, just from a joke writing perspective, like, you might not like what he does. You might think that, like, his use of, some people say, hillbilly blackface or whatever is offensive to you and your culture. All that can be well and true, but, like, just speaking as a comedian, dude murders, and the dude writes some of the best, at least used to, one-liner punch shit I've ever heard. So the guy's not stupid, but he's like, I mean, I'm going to just use my talents and relate to all these people. So no, I don't like George Carlin was like the last one I can think of.
There's also a whole, again, I don't want to make it sound like every comedian over here is trying to do, I'm dumb, but I know stuff type of thing.
Right.
There's plenty of like, there's like the nerd, like Chris Hardwick is smart. Kumail Nanjiani is
I think
smart.
Chappelle's a little bit
smart.
of that now.
But it still isn't the same thing because it's not like their whole. It's like based in intellectualism over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you said, like Stephen Fry's like, I'm an Oxford professor, who's telling you jokes now.
They
and our like nerd
humorous.
comics or what? Yeah, right. Satirist, humor.
Like,
you
that's
know,
what
fucking
Mark
John
Twain did.
Stewart, super smart.
Yes,
obviously Stephen Colbert. There's plenty of guys, but I just feel like it's not. It isn't ratcheted up to the same degree that they have over there, where it's like part of the whole. Again, Jon Stewart's like, I'm speaking to everybody. You know what I mean? It's like I'm saying what we're all thinking, type of thing.
Right.
Whereas over there, it's like, no, I know all kinds of shit that y'all don't know. You know what I mean? And I'm funny about it.
Yeah, and over here
and they're into that.
No, they are. And over here, when you're someone who wants to do that, I think what ends up happening is you end up being someone who does one-man shows, or you know what I mean? You do a Broadway one-man show, even though it's just one person on stage being funny, you're like, that's not stand-up. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like the blur between what is stand-up and what is a one-man show. Like, Birbiglia is a guy who, like, really toes that line. And I don't mean that from an intellectual perspective, but it's like, all right, he goes up and he does an hour and there's one theme and it's basically like one person describing a 3-act play, but it's just him. And you're like, all right, well, that's a one-man show. And you're like, yeah, but there was a bunch of jokes in it and he was on stage with a microphone. What's the difference? Like, what would we have to remove from that in order for that to just be stand-up comedy? And to reverse that, what would I have to add to mine to make you go, that's a one-man show,
well,
not
another
stand-up?
thing I'm saying, it's not over here. It's not like, oh, I'm an intellectual just put broadly out in front of everybody like that. But the other thing is, like, none of those guys we've named who are definitely very smart, it's not part of their thing.
No, I
it's
know.
like, I'm posh.
No, I know. I'm
what
just
they
trying to
call
get
posh
there, yeah.
over there. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like over there, it's like you can openly be fancy.
Yeah.
You can openly be fancy and make jokes and shit, and they're into it. And I feel like even our smart comics over here, you can't and you shouldn't do that.
Well, do you
like
think-
you can't openly just be like, you know,
I'm smarter than all y'all.
and, well, also I'm fancier. I'm more privileged and fucking better.
If you did it over here, that would have to be the joke.
The whole thing.
Like, it would have to be a
but
satire.
nobody really does
no,
that. Right?
No, they don't. Like,
Right.
I mean, we're doing it right now, but like in a satirical way. Like, that's how it would have to be done. You couldn't.
Yeah, again, I mean unironically.
I know. No, they don't. Like, not that I can think of, and like I genuinely think like I'm not sitting here saying I know more about comedy than anybody, but like I know a lot of, like, I feel like I would know that person. I think maybe what it is like, maybe we haven't researched this enough, is like there's just dudes from America that were doing that and they went over there. Because like maybe over there that is super relatable. Like maybe there's a bunch of people over there that feel like, yeah, well, I'm English. I'm super fucking
prim
posh.
and proper. Yeah,
and nobody, hell, everybody over here that thinks that kind of acts English. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
yeah,
like, I mean, am I wrong?
No, I get. Yeah, it's like everybody, all our rich people are just trying to ape what
They're
British
doing.
people are doing.
Another
It's like,
thing that sounds racist, but I ain't.
aping.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, and then jape. You know,
Yeah.
sounds in the same.
This is gonna come up a
same
lot more than I
ballpark.
actually thought.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's more racist for you to
Point it out. Yeah. You know what that made me think of? Yeah.
It is time to dig yourself out of that winter hibernation. Spring is here, and it's time to get sprung. Boing with BlueChew. That's right. This episode is sponsored by BlueChew.
BlueChew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you plan ahead and you can be ready with your wiener whenever an opportunity arises, as in your wiener. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with a licensed medical provider. Once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days, which is the best part about it. It's all done down there on the internet there. You ain't got to go to the doctor's office. Ain't got to have any awkward conversations. You don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy. And all of BlueChew's tablets are made right here in the U.S. of A., prepared and shipped directly to your door in a very discreet package.
I can tell you what, man, when it's Blue Chew Day and that mailman comes, that is my wife's favorite day of the week because she knows she's going to get that souped up wiener, that new dick, as it were. And so if you could benefit from a new dick or extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we got a special deal. We have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code POA at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code POA to receive your first month for free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and safety information. That's very important. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast and getting us all a brand new dick.
Get you a new dick. How? All right. So listen, here's what I wanted to talk about on this episode. I like to try to find where that Venn diagram overlaps between fancy people and our people, redneck trash. And what I got this week is boats. Everybody loves to get drunk on a boat.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't love to get drunk on a boat? Us, rich people, gay dudes, love to get drunk on boats, right? Again, everybody does. But as always, it's the same general activity, but it's so extremely different.
Yeah.
Like, we get drunk on boats to fucking either,
It's really just
throw your buddy off a tube.
I was about to say,
or do a power bomb off the fucking top of a double-decker pontoon, or to catch the biggest fish you can find.
Getting drunk is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, with us, it's like this is another place in where we can get wrecked and get drunk.
Russ has got pulled up here. Like, that's what's up. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Turn a picnic table into a boat. We love to turn stuff into boats.
Yeah.
Anything that's like this hits, but this will hit harder if it was floating.
Yeah, because we also always think we might have to escape for some reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's very much a part of redneck culture is like having a bunker, getting your pilot's license if you can afford it or something, just in case some bullshit happens. And like, having a picnic pontoon boat would be really good if shit went down.
Yeah, but dude, so I grew up in a lake town, and still to this day, every summer when the world has not ended, so like pre-pandemic, every summer, me and all my buddies from back home that I grew up with, us and our families and our kids and shit, rent a houseboat and go out on Del Hollow Lake, and it hits real hard, but there ain't nothing fancy about it. You know what I mean? Like, again, we're fucking cranking the Skinnered up, taking our shirts off, getting drunk in front of our kids, and fucking yelling at our wives and all that shit, and it's just like...
Great time.
Awesome time. One of the best times. Right. But not fancy.
No.
You know what I mean? But it's still like a boat. And it's also like a houseboat is the closest we come to like what rich people do.
Yeah.
But which is funny because it's a floating trailer.
Yes, of course it is. Of course.
It's like that's the closest we can come to what they do with boats.
Yeah.
But it's literally a trailer that floats.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And again,
and it smashes. It
of
rolls.
Course it does. But like the reason that anyone around here wants a houseboat is so that they don't have to drive after they've gotten drunk on their boat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not to show, like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's not like to show off, like, oh, look at all these. It's like, all right, you go in there and there's a bed and there's extra liquor.
Right.
Sweet.
You can get drunk, float, fish, and then pass out all in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love to turn other stuff into boats. We'll boatify anything. But I think we've got some other funny redneck boats here. Yeah, look at that. Look, my man's got his lazy boy on the boat.
Out of luxury.
Also,
a grill.
Oh, that's a grill.
I
thought that was like a computer, and I was like, that don't make no sense. It's like, yeah, it must be.
Yeah,
he wanted to be able to pull up his
YouTube clips,
working
like
remotely.
That. Yeah. Look at other people doing stuff on boats. I would say that that's a grill.
Yeah, that's far more likely.
Yeah,
than what
if I had to guess.
Look how hard they're hitting.
Also, look, I believe that his buddy over there is like in some sort of like sidecar situation.
Side boat.
Which
you need a side boat.
I've heard people describe me and you as like you're the guy in the motorcycle and I'm the person in the sidecar with like the big ass round Marvin the Martian helmet just going boogity boogity boogity.
You were made for a sidecar.
I know,
dude.
I really was.
Yeah.
We'd be fucking leaning, one way or the other, but it would definitely hit for me. I feel like I'd be terrified the whole time in a sidecar. I mean, I guess if I was on the right side, it would be fine, but like that just seems. But that's clearly what's going on.
Yeah. What do you guys think they're cooking on the grill?
I mean, I mean, one would like to say like
something illegal, like a turtle you ain't
right.
supposed to cook.
A gar, like they're
Yeah.
eating a gar. Russ, have you ever seen a gar?
No.
It's
Holy
like an
fuck,
alligator fish.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like a
Is that like a
redneck
pangolin?
barracuda.
Yeah, it's like a redneck barracuda, which is a gypsy speedboat song.
It also has a funny just gar.
Gar. I think that's because that's what someone said.
Gar.
Gar. Gar. Is that an alligator?
Gar, damn.
Gar. Damn.
Gar not currently found in California.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're
we know
very-
that.
yeah, look at
See,
that shit, man.
Yeah. Them things
Don't.
are wild.
They don't hit at all.
Going for gator gar.
Yeah,
There's
man.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's a very terrifying. We caught. I remember when we were on our pontoon as a kid, and we we were fishing or whatever, and like the first time I ever saw a gar, and like I thought it was some like I'd like probably just seen Jurassic Park.
Dude,
or some
they're
shit.
freaky looking.
Yeah, they're absolutely freaky, especially if you're not ready to see. Look at that shit.
Now that's a goddamn
that's a
TV,
TV
ain't
or
it?
computers. I mean, it'd have to be because otherwise, what would he be watching? Now, that definitely is just an old school TV. But what's he hooked up to? Like, how's he powering it?
He's got
He's
a
watching a
generator?
bootleg DVD.
He's got a VHS of Dukes of Hazzard playing.
Yeah,
on
of
there.
course. That's
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
like I said, floating trailer.
All these look like if me and you had written Star Wars, like what we would come up for the AT-ATs and shit like that. That's all duct tape, I feel, or electrical tape
Just a duct
and
tape
PVC pipe. That's really good stuff. The couch,
Look
classic.
At that. Just making a couch
With a
into
trolling
boat
motor
with
on
the
it.
Yeah, what else do you need?
I mean, no, dude, nothing. I mean, granted, like that fabric, like that's gonna get real haggard real quick. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
I don't think they're overly concerned about that.
right?
Let it stink.
Yeah. You think we can't steal another goddamn couch?
I want it to stink, god damn it. I like to stink.
Ah, man, I'm really upset. I actually skipped a lake trip to come out here and record. They went to, my wife and them all went to Branson, and it's very much a redneck boat situation where my wife was calling me every day just like in so much neck pain because her brother like slung her off a jet ski or so much of our experience on boat is trying to sling people off of stuff.
Yeah, that's our culture.
Yeah, it's just, and which again, you said like I think oil sheiks do that too. It's just
Sling
them people
this
don't.
drunk woman off a jet
But
ski.
she don't come back though. in the chic world,
no,
like
she gets sunk.
yeah, like it's some like Natalie.
Holloway.
I wasn't gonna say that. I meant.
Okay.
I meant
what Natalie were you talking about?
The famous one that Christopher Walken was on the boat.
Is that Natalie Wood?
Natalie Wood.
Wood. Yeah, from Raven.
Well, it's another woman water situation.
It sure is. Yeah, it's certainly very famous. That was also my wife's nickname in high school.
Yeah, because she would disappear.
Disappear all the time when we were in Panama City. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like that was they literally.
I
called
know
her
you're
Natalie.
not. I know you're not. Oh, gave her your name, baby. Had to. All right, so yes, with fancy people, they love boats too, but it ain't boats, of course. It's yachts.
Yeah.
And again, I gotta be honest. That's a fair distinction.
It's a
they do like
sure.
we like fucking boats.
Yeah.
We like a boat.
Yeah.
They need a fancier word for what they do, and it's yachts. And again, if you look at the difference between them, it is stark. It is a stark contrast.
God.
Stark is kind of a pun actually because of Tony. I never thought of that, but yeah, it's a stark.
Is
contrast.
this a website where you can buy a yacht?
Maybe.
Okay,
Not
because
that
it
we
just
can.
seems like there wouldn't be.
I feel like they would block my
you
IP
see,
address.
buy a yacht. It just seems like if you're the type of person who is capable of buying a yacht,
you don't do it this way.
Hell no, you don't do it this way.
You tell your assistant to find
now-
the yacht man.
like a $30 million yacht.
Here's
It's
a good,
wild to
here's
me
a
that
list for you.
yeah, it's wild to me that you would be able to shop for a $30 million yacht
The
online.
cheapest one is from 30 years ago and costs $30 million, and all the rest of them, it's like you go to a fancy restaurant
price.
and they don't have the price on the
Oh,
menu.
no, there's a
there's
$2
some
million
more on
one, but
there.
it's the American. Look at that piece
looks like
of
a
shit.
goddamn tugboat.
It is. It's
shit.
a commercial boat, which like I guess in that situation, that's a shrimp boat or something like that.
Yeah, so a goddamn shrimp boat will cost you $2 million. It's
Jesus
probably a
Christ.
lobster boat.
51 mil
Yeah.
for
Who
this
the
one,
fuck-
2005.
Is that
So-
damn? I never thought about like a shrimping boat costing that much. Like them motherfuckers buy that and then they work their whole lives just to pay the boat off.
So here's the deal with them and their yachts, right? So like yachts are kind of different for them because we talked about wine on a previous episode, and wine is treated like
An
art.
investment.
A lot of the things they fuck with, also make them money because that's how they be.
Right.
So
that's why they call people like us dumb when you buy anything practical. They're like, them type of motherfuckers are like, you rent your home. You understand that you're throwing money away. And it's like, right, everyone that rents a home would probably love to own a home.
Yeah, their money is making them money
all the time.
And it's like even the shit so it's like you see all these like fucking looks like Jackson Pollock just drop kicked a paint can across a fucking canvas or whatever, and it's $3 million. You're like, what the fuck is up with that, right? But like they fuck with all that stuff because it appreciates in value. So they can hang it up in their a lot of times they don't hang it up in their office. Matter of fact,
they keep it locked away.
Future topic, but they keep it locked away in a warehouse with fucking
in a temperature controlled
shit. Right
thing. Yeah.
But the reason for it is it appreciates in value. It's an investment for them.
Yeah.
And again, even like wine, which we think of just like wine's purpose is to get you drunk.
Yeah.
You can get drunk in a fancy way and floss while getting drunk, but you're still there to get drunk.
Right.
But that ain't how they look at high dollar wine. It's an investment. Well, yachts they're not.
Because there's no way that appreciates.
Yachts are not like that. They're not investment pieces. They don't appreciate
now,
value.
Hold on.
They exist solely for them to floss on other people with. That is their entire purpose.
But let me ask you this, though. Do you think that there's a world in which, like, let's say hypothetically, Princess Diana, I'm just throwing her out there because she's a person of wealth that everybody knew. Hypothetically, Princess Diana buys a yacht for, let's say, $30 million. Do you think there's a world in which that because it was owned by Princess Diana, they actually could get $40 million for it afterwards?
Maybe.
Again, you'd have to be that type of person.
I would say that's a very specific example because it's Princess Diana. Because I was going to say, that's the thing with yachts. They're all owned by people who hit real hard.
Right.
Yachts are owned by
they literally
Saudi princes, the president of the United Arab Emirates and stuff, like noteworthy people.
Right.
And they're still depreciating assets, but that ain't the point for none of them, So they
you could charter them, which they don't do shit like
that. They do. They do
Okay.
charter them, but even that.
Again, that makes you money.
It still isn't, dude. These things are so fucking expensive.
And the repair, dude.
But it's also wild because they're boats. Like, so they also fuck with private jets, right? But private jets, if you got that amount of money, are practical.
Of course.
They're a mode of transportation. Well, boats are a mode of transportation, but not
just
these
to
boats.
Places to get drunk.
Not for these people. They don't even ride on them. They'll like pick a place.
Park 'em.
Pick a place that hits that's on the water, the French Riviera or whatever. They will call their boatman, their yacht captain, and the whole crew, and they'll be like, hey, I'm trying to hit on the French Riviera in August. So y'all take my goddamn boat there and park it and have it waiting for me. And they fly a private jet and land nearby, come onto the boat, party with some hoes, eat a bunch of goddamn shrimp or whatever. And a lot of times don't even sleep there.
Leave the dock.
Right. No, they almost never leave
really?
the dock. That's what I'm saying. They don't, well, I don't want to say almost never, but yeah, they don't cruise around on them. They don't even make no goddamn sense. They park them in places that hits, and that's part of the status of it all too, is having it parked in the hittingest place. So, like,
for the record, though, that helps with it not depreciating too much. Well, of course, those people are still traveling with it.
Right.
I guess, yeah. By the way, that's not a bad gig. Like, if you're just the person that's like, hey, me and the crew are just going to drive this motherfucker over here and then park.
Yeah, they get harassed and assaulted a lot. But we
probably don't get paid that much.
No, they actually do, but they don't. So we can get back in that a little bit later. But
I bet a lot of them get murdered and you never know.
Probably, yeah. International waters, am I right? Fucking maritime law.
That's a weird thing.
Yeah, one of the weirdest laws, maritime law. But so again, even where your yacht is parked is a big part of, like, status.
Right.
So like
because you got to keep it there and pay the dock fee. And
also, so like in Monaco, right, they have the Monaco Grand Prix, which this big F1
that's
thing.
Italy, right?
It's in Monaco, which is like a micro state that's in Europe. Nowhere. Monaco is a
its
country.
Own thing. Okay,
yes.
Dude, I'm so stupid.
But it's on the Mediterranean Sea.
Is it close to Italy? At least give me that.
Yeah, it's in Europe. Yeah, it's over there.
All right, I'm not that stupid.
It's on the Mediterranean Sea, right? And it's this big F1 race. It was in Iron Man 2. You remember when Tony goes and races in Iron Man 2?
Or not Cable, but
God damn it, Mickey
Rourke's character, Chain, not Chain.
2 Chainz. 2 Chainz shows up.
Yeah.
2 Chainz. Yeah, yes. What's my bird?
Yeah. Sam Rockwell hits for me in that movie, by the way.
He does. Yeah. What the fuck fuck is that character's name? It's gonna upset me.
Russ.
It ain't Electro.
No, I know. I'm just naming off. I'm just naming off different Marvel characters that have electric things that they fuck with.
Whiplash.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
Whiplash. But yeah, or also, I
It's
mean, Two
Two
Chainz
Chainz.
would accurately reflect
That would really
his
hit.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should have just called him Two Chainz. It would have been hilarious. Anyway, we all know that scene from Iron Man 2. That's the Monaco Grand Prix. Fancy people fucking central, right?
I want to go there.
And a big chunk, yeah, we'd have to fucking either sneak in or be like, y'all can change a tire, right?
Once this show pops off, they'll invite us.
Sure. That's one of the things where it's like, the level of hitting is so high.
They don't want us ever.
Yeah, no, we might
Shout
be able
out Superyachts, possible sponsor.
sponsor. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We might be able to go and shuck and jive, maybe.
That's fine.
Yeah, of course that's fine. That's how I got into Al Gore's house. Anyway. So like the finish line or the starting line or both or whatever is right on the water in Monaco, right? So people can park their yachts right there at the starting line. And that's like primo real estate. But the thing is, there's only so many slots, and there's way more super rich people than there are slots.
Right.
So they have to like bribe that you have to have that's based on the captain, the yacht captain. And so you have to like fucking bribe the right yacht captain to get the right spot and whatever. And so it's like, it's just all this massive
Does that captain get to pocket all that shit?
pissing contest. Yeah, dude, of course.
Hell yeah. Good
Yeah,
for him,
captains
man.
are doing fine. But
Good for captains.
so like a lot of these dudes are the sons of people who hit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Always.
I mean, no matter what, they are the son of someone who hit. You know, like in any situation, like, and that's what their son will be. Like, it's very rare that one of them came from a daddy that didn't hit.
So like a lot of it is actually really frat boyish. So it is a
Right.
big pissing contest, and but they'll prank each other and shit. Like there's this guy, Sir Philip Green, who's the son of some duke or whatever, and he's had multiple yachts all named Lionheart, like the old English king Richard Lionheart or whatever. Lionheart 1, Lionheart 2, Lionheart 3, and he had one of them parked in Monaco, and some rival rich boat motherfuckers snuck on his boat one night and
Took a bunch of shits.
they turned Lionheart into Lion Fart.
Nice.
Yeah,
They're just like us.
Yeah, they're not so so different, us and them, except in every other way. But yeah,
Right.
they turned it into Lion Fart, which does hit.
That does it.
And but I
That's
just
better than
don't-
like the things that those people normally do as pranks, for the record.
Right. But dude, these fucking boats are insane. They have shit like they have leisure submarines, you know, they have onboard pools that turn into dance floors. So they
Yes.
drain the pool,
They also,
elevate it,
like-
and turn it into a dance floor.
They also have like garages for other boats that hit.
They do. They got they'll poop
Boats on
out.
boats
They'll
on boat.
poop out also hitting boat
Boat.
out the back of this boat.
And that's kind of like when we like have a camper.
yeah, my
that-
big boat poops my fast boat,
Right.
and then my fast boat hits.
Which is kind of like when we have a RV that's like
Got a Jeep
got a Jeep
towed
behind it.
behind it.
Yeah, or
Yes.
the reverse of that. Like it's that, but like in a very insanely better way.
Some of them, these fucking Saudi, these oil sheiks and shit, they have missile defense systems.
Is every sheik an oil sheik? Like, are there sheiks that are like,
I don't know how
we
you
don't
get
have
to
oil?
be a sheik over there.
I know, me too. 'Cause
Well, you ain't gonna be a sheep sheik.
sheik. Like I've
A
never
goat sheik. Ain't no goat.
Well, my
sheiks.
point is like I've only ever heard it the term like oil chic, and I'm like, I think at this point we can
because that's
just
the only
say
thing
chic.
that hits over there, resource wise,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and just otherwise. But
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But-
what else do they have to get?
No,
rich
that's
on
what I'm
other than
saying. Like,
oil?
I think
so.
we could just
to be
say
a sheik,
chic.
you got to be an oil sheik,
right.
Well, either way, they have fucking missile defense systems and stuff. They've got these yeah, they've all got helipads, of course.
That's just fucking like.
But they have these like lasers that are so like they're like anti-paparazzi lasers. So it's lasers that somehow key in on cameras and zap them so you can't. So like poor people, you're not worthy to even gaze upon my hits.
I mean-
Do you know what I mean? Like they fucking
I mean-
zap poor people's cameras so we can't even see the shit they got going on.
Not
out
for
there.
nothing. Like
Yeah, they're probably throwing hose off that boat and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I was
can't
about to
have
say-
people seeing that.
I was about to say, like, that is an awesome thing to do. Like, I could understand if, like, let's say hypothetically, you're like, you're like the father of a teenage girl who is like in movies and paparazzi's constantly trying to come to your house while she's in y'all's pool, and you've somehow got that technology. That's a reasonable application for that. But yeah, the implication here is that like we're doing some stuff that if you photograph us doing it, it will not, because it ain't just like we don't want y'all to see all these titties. Like they don't give a shit about that. It's definitely like the open doing coke off of like an old Aladdin sword.
I definitely, yes, I'm sure that goes on, and I'm sure that's part. But like, I can't help but think that part of it is also just like
murder.
I said, no, like just that y'all are not allowed. Y'all are not allowed to see all this.
Right?
You're not. You don't. You are too. Your blood is too poor.
Yeah, your blood don't hit.
Your blood don't hit.
Right.
Our blood hits. So you are not permitted to witness this.
Yeah. And
that's what I think. Also, all the murder and rape and stuff.
Yeah, but there's
sure.
There's something to them about keeping up the mystique or something like that.
Right, which that's another version of what I'm saying.
Yeah. No.
Keeping
for sure.
the mystique up. Yeah, you can't let the common man can't know about what it is that you're doing.
Right. I'm still having a problem with the fact that they hardly ever leave the dock if they ever do. Like that, to me, it's just like, why don't you just have a house in all these places?
They also do.
Right.
They also do.
But they want to be that close to the water.
They have a mansion in the French Riviera that's 20 minutes up the road, 10 minutes up the road from their fucking yacht. Yeah, we just don't even, our brains just don't even think about shit that way.
But like for real, like when I'm sitting here, like when I think about things like, oh, Dave Chappelle got, $80-90 million from Netflix. I can't even really fathom that. They laugh.
They do.
They go,
it's nothing.
And they're like $90 million and he had to do all that. Mm-mm. Like,
okay. So on that note, this is a wild thing I ran across reading about super yachts and stuff, because I agree with you completely. And in my head, when I think about these people that
what's
have
the distinction between a super yacht and a regular yacht?
Super yachts hit harder.
Right.
So when I think about the people that have these, I assume the same thing. Yes, I think like Dave Chappelle, like you just said, fucking, I got $100 million from Netflix for multiple comedy specials. You're like, goddamn, that's hitting on an insane level. And it is. But in my head, I'm like, these people that are doing this, to me, they're either oil sheiks, they are the sons of old fucking robber baron, massive titans of industry, like fucking old money. Right? Old money. So, okay, a super yacht is any yacht longer than 24 meters. That's commie units. Can we get that in freedom units?
I was about to say, I'm just kidding. I know, I genuinely don't know what meter like that. They also spelled meters the wrong way.
It's like 80-something feet, I think, which is big as hell. All mega yachts are super yachts, but not all super yachts are mega yachts.
That's like rectangles and squares.
Don't even try to worry about that, poor people. You ain't supposed to know the difference. But
do you think people with mega yachts shit on people with
of course they do.
Whichever one is the best. Yes, I know they do.
Of course
Again,
they do.
that's the whole thing with this shit that they're doing, is so they can shit on the peasants who only have a mega yacht or super yacht, whichever, whatever. So again, so in my head, it's all oil sheiks, or it's like the sons of dukes or emperor. Like that's the level of people that have these things. That's what I think. But one of the guys who's apparently a major player in the super yacht world, his name is Jimmy Staluppi, I think is his name. He's
okay, can I say something here that I don't know how it's going to go?
Yeah.
That sounds like he owns a salami store.
Right now, he invented spaghetti. That's how he got... That's how Staluppi... Yeah, he comes from old spaghetti money. Jimmy Staluppi. But no, he's a Brooklyn automotive...
Oh, I think I've heard about this guy. Yeah.
But the thing is, so I read Brooklyn Automotive Titan, big player in the super yacht world, right?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, he invented the clutch.
Right.
Or something like that.
Had to be.
It had to be something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I looked it up, and as far as I could tell...
he saved future Dale Earnhardt.
As far as I could tell, he just owns a bunch of dealerships.
That don't make no goddamn sense.
I agree completely, because like to me, it's like, it's like my dad owns a dealership, bro, is like the cliche example of a not really rich but
round
rich
here
frat boy douchebag. My dad owns a dealership, bro. Well, he just owns a bunch of dealerships and that's it. But he has all these. he like is like a trendsetter in the fucking super yacht world or something because he fucks with them all the time. And this is how little I understand rich people and money of that level is I don't get. There he is. Oh, it's John Staluppi. Look at
well, at least
that is like spaghetti American right there, dude.
At least he looks exactly like how we stupidly described him.
Hey, you ladies want to come on the boat later?
I always try to when it's things like this, like I always have to figure out like because what you just said is true. Like in that world, you can't just own a bunch of dealerships and do this. So like I have to like start fantasy booking what might have happened to him.
He like had to have invested at the right time in Halliburton or some shit
but
like
it has
that.
to. But it also still has to go even deeper than that because like Dick Cheney can't see these motherfuckers in a dream.
Right.
So like, is it like he just happened to maybe he hits with cars and he did something with one of these F1 motherfuckers and then he got drunk and met a sheik and this sheik's favorite son. He didn't hit for him, and so he like gave him one of his yachts when he died or something. And then he turned around and sold that yacht, got some money, and was able to get another yacht.
Maybe a lot because again, it's very like even amongst
like
rich
the Great
people,
Gatsby.
it's a dick measuring type of thing. Maybe a lot of super rich people just don't even fuck with this.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean? You're not like a lot of super rich people. They say reportedly, I wouldn't know. Dress like a pauper, just wear fucking sweatpants and shit like that. Because it's like if you really got money, you don't have to flaunt it.
Well,
so maybe a lot of really rich people don't feel the need to have a fucking yacht with a fast boat that poops out the back of it and all that type of shit.
Yeah,
maybe
one of the first times I made a trip to LA, like when you really started hitting, and our agent Val took us to lunch at like the Beverly Hills Hotel, which like. I would obviously still love to do that right now, but at that time, that was just like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. And like we're sitting there, and of course it's super fancy, and I'm looking at the menu, and everything's super expensive, and everybody looks like a goddamn Kardashian or something. And this one fat son of a bitch comes in with like scarecrow hair, wearing like almost pajamas, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck's going on? And Val just like very matter of factly goes, I guarantee you that's the richest motherfucker in here.
Right.
Because like when you're that rich, you don't worry about
that's probably
like,
the Minecraft guy or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're like they don't worry about any of that stuff because like they don't have to put on airs,
Right.
Because like they just got it.
I've always heard that too. So I'm saying when you apply that same logic to all this shit, maybe a lot of the like really, really hitting rich people just don't even fuck with this,
That yacht's really called Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah, they're all
clearly
named after
Photoshopped.
Bond movies.
I was about to say
that looks like that was added in there later, but Russ is right. John Staluppi, the fucking spaghetti man, all of his yachts are named after James Bond movies.
Okay, so he's one of us.
Right, yeah. He putting on airs a little bit, except he's actually got fucking super yachts.
I want to ride on pussy galore. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You don't have no mega yachts.
No.
That wasn't
only super yachts.
Pussy galore was a character from one of the movies.
Right. That's so funny that they were just like, just call
Pussy
it Pussy galore.
They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, because I remember in Austin Powers, the parody of that was a lot of vagina. Yeah. And it's like, that's honestly not even that much different.
You could argue that pussy galore is more egregious
At least they use
than a lot of vagina.
Right, exactly. Right. Like, that's so goddamn funny.
Yeah, one of them, what's her name? Denise Richards, Octopussy. Yeah, there you go.
What?
Holy shit. Look
at the yacht. That's a movie?
Hey, look at his fucking meatball ass buddies he hangs out with. This, you know what? He's in the mafia. That's what it is. We're trying to figure out.
He has to be.
We're trying to figure out where this dude's extra money came from. Oh, was he in Halliburton? What did he do? That motherfucker is in the mafia. He's got to be.
But isn't this like...
He owns a lot of fucking trucking companies, if you know what I'm saying.
Waste management.
Waste management.
But like, isn't that a fucking red flag? Like, that's a dumb thing for... Like, where does he say the money comes from?
Cars,
right?
Dealerships,
and I guess in that
we
sense,
already covered it,
right? I guess you could just on paper fudge like, no, this guy paid $30 million for it.
Matter of fact, I don't even know if I want this episode to come out. We've been making fun of this motherfucker. I ain't trying to end up at the bottom of the fucking sea. At least I would get thrown off of a sweet boat. That would be nice. I guess.
We'd be nice and duct tape before it happened.
Yeah.
But, God, that wouldn't fucking hit. But yeah, we're sorry, Mr. Staluppi. We love you, and next time we see you, spaghetti's on us.
Yeah, please don't send Franz Heesen after us.
Yeah, you know that's the muscle.
Look at that dude. God damn. Dude.
Mulder's the money guy, and Heesen's the goddamn muscle. You know that to be true.
Jesus Christ. So
we're about to get killed.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get murdered for being poor. I've been waiting on it. But
for sure.
So one thing I ran across when I was reading up on yachts and yacht business was Tom Cruise, right?
Mm-hmm.
He hits.
So, does hit way faster than a lot of people.
Faster than everybody we personally know.
For sure.
I've never known a person, like, on a personal level who was faster than Tom Cruise. But Tom Cruise is so wild in so many ways because I knew it's like one of those deals where, like, oh, he's got to fly a new helicopter in the next Mission Impossible. So he spent 8 months learning how to fly helicopters through waterfalls and shit or whatever.
Which, like, that's a thing that's real.
Yeah, I knew he did that, but, like, I didn't even know this. And looking up this yacht shit, I found out that in 1996, so dude, 25 years ago or whatever, he had already been hitting for fucking 15 years at that point. Tom Cruise,
Risky Business came out in 1981
right,
or something like that.
Motherfucker's been hitting that hard for 40 years. Been in the zone for 40 years.
No, that's actually kind of crazy to think about because when you think of Tom Cruise, you just think about like all the 80s stuff and all the 90s stuff, but like almost in the 70s, he was hitting he had
and he's still one of the hittingest movie stars on earth right now.
I don't like Risky Business was like his first big thing in like 81. He clearly was doing stuff in the 70s.
He has been like the dude for 40 years.
Our whole life.
Right.
And like
insane more than our whole life. Longer than we've been alive.
And like all of your kids' life. And like there's realistically no sign of that stopping.
Right.
Like he actually like we haven't even seen what the back half of Tom Cruise's career goes because he's still in the first 40. Like he's still doing all the action movies and shit.
He hasn't moved into the like fucking.
He's going to end up doing
portraying an old king.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
In a
like
fucking
he's actually
Oscar bait movie or whatever. He hasn't even done that.
He'll actually do
yet.
like a reverse Liam Neeson. Because like Liam Neeson did all that shit, and then older, which is really weird. But like, yeah, once Tom Cruise, because I know how this dude rolls. The day that he's not able to actually do all his own stunts, he's going to be like, that's not why I do this. But he's not going to fucking quit acting. And also, for the record, tremendous fucking actor. So like it's really like we're never going to see a day that he's going to outlive us.
Yeah, he's going to outlive everybody. He's operating thetan. So on that note, he was on a boat, a yacht.
Talk about other people we don't want to piss off on this podcast.
Yeah, in 1996 in the Mediterranean, he was on a yacht, presumably with some alien hoes, and he saw another rich motherfucker on a yacht. It capsized and started sinking. So he got the little poop boat, the boat that the big boat poops out.
Is that a dinghy?
Boat. Yeah, he got the skiff, I think.
The skiff.
He got the skiff, the ancillary hitting boat from the major big boat that he was on. He got in that, took it over to the other guy's boat, and fucking like pulled them out from a sinking boat fire and saved their life. And what's wilder about that is not the only time that Tom Cruise has saved actual real life human beings' lives in the real world. He's done it like 4 other times, which like, dude, that is fucking insane.
It's insane.
That a dude whose like whole existence is portraying the guy that saves innocent people in movies or whatever.
Also
if he had only done it that one time, that would be insane.
Of course.
But he literally has done it like 4 times.
It's like, how are you in the position to do that all the time?
I know.
Because I've saved one person's life.
I have also saved one person's life. We are heroes.
What was yours?
Yes, it was a dude who didn't know how to swim and fell off a boat, and nobody else saw it, and I had to dive in after him.
Similar to Tom Cruise.
I had to dive in after him and pull him out. Yeah, it was basically Tom Cruise in that scenario.
Mine was a kid. I'd been playing golf, and I was in the clubhouse, and I was eating lunch, and there was it was a situation where there was a grandma and her kid there, and they weren't there to play golf. They had just been swimming or whatever, and the kid very clearly like started having an allergic reaction to something, and the mom's not there, but the grandma is, and she's got access to the EpiPen, but had never done anything like that, and didn't, which is weird to me in hindsight that like the grandma didn't know how to do all that shit. But like I said, I was like, I'd just come fresh off from working at a daycare, and I was like, what's going on? She's like, he's allergic. I've got this, and so I hit him in the leg or whatever, and they couldn't figure out what had been going on, and I put my Sherlock Holmes hat on, because I'd noticed that he was like over by the little quarter candy machine things or whatever, and he'd been like fingering the inside of the thing like a gross little kid. And I was like, what's he allergic to? And she's like, peanuts. And I was like, peanut M&Ms. He's been over there in the thing. And they're like, oh, okay. Then the mom gets back from the pool to come in there, tells them what all had just happened, and they just go, oh, okay. And they just walked off. No, and I'm not saying that I needed any type of medal or anything, but they literally didn't even say thank you to me, like at all. But anyways, yeah, we're heroes. But obviously not to the that'll never happen to me again in my whole life. And this motherfucker's done it like 5 times.
Right. And it's his whole thing
right.
publicly is doing that, but he really does it in the real world. It's fucking wild. So anyway.
You think that kind of makes up for all the bad shit you hear about him?
I think it should.
For sure. He's fine.
It should at least a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Also, I've always heard that on the set and stuff, he's one of the biggest pros that ever
For
proed.
sure.
He's
For
like
sure.
the most professional guy in the world. And like he went viral at the beginning of the pandemic, yelling at all those people. Yeah, he's known for being a very nice guy in Hollywood, but he lost his shit and went viral in the middle of the pandemic. But he was yelling at all these people for not wearing masks and not.
Right.
He was like, "You fucking costing people their houses with your bullshit," and it's like. Show me the lie, dog.
No, I mean,
he was
for real.
fucking spitting it as far as I'm concerned.
And he
like,
don't have any reason monetarily to give a shit about that. Like
Right.
he was worried. He genuinely was worried about other people's livelihood.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm just saying the contrast when it comes to boat culture, like my buddy that works at the dock where we rent those houseboats from, when we got our last houseboat and rented it, they were having to replace another houseboat because some fucking redneck tourist had tried to explode a log on the top deck and blew a hole in the roof of the houseboat because, like, that's what we do.
Of course, that's what we do.
And the thing is, I'm sure they probably explode
that
shit
too,
on theirs, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's their shit.
And also, it's like you'll just get another one or whatever. They like shoot lasers through the roofs of theirs, probably. So it's still just like, just a very stark contrast.
What do you think the goddamn, like, what do you think the upkeep, like,
oh my God.
like, I can't even ballpark.
I wouldn't even. I had no idea.
We drive.
It's got to be hundreds of $1,000s a month.
I was about to say,
keep
like,
it up.
Like,
it has to be.
Dude, like, so we drive, my wife has a Land Rover, and before anybody in here starts giving me any type of shit, it was my mama's, and I bought it from her cash, very used, after a buddy of mine, Drew, y'all know him, wrecked my goddamn truck. So it's not like, oh, my wife has a brand new 2020 Land Rover, but it's an older one, and like we just had a tree fall on it, and like just to like repair the roof of that because it's a Land Rover is like, God dang, we might as well just get a new fucking car. So like with this shit, like you just kind of like scrape it on the side of like the dock or whatever, and like they're not just going to be like, that's okay, that's just kind of a glamour thing, we don't have to worry about that. Like of course they're going to fix that, and that's like on a $30 million fucking yacht, that's 100 G's.
Yeah, dude. Some fucking Duke's son accidentally shoots a torpedo through the fucking port bow or whatever. That's going to be millions of dollars. Do you
think when something like that happens, like let's say hypothetically, you're the oil sheik and you invite a bunch of these rich dukes onto your boat to hit, and then one of the rich dukes fucks some shit up, do you think that the oil sheiks send them a bill, or if they just go, that's just what happens and we'll take care of it, because it's not balling to send somebody else a bill?
It isn't balling to send somebody else a bill. So my poor person instinct would be that they just let it ride.
Because I'll be honest with you.
It's not balling to send somebody
no,
a
it's
bill.
not. Because I'll be honest with you, the difference between me now and me, like even 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, it's not balling to send somebody a bill for something like that.
Right.
Like they stay sending, but it is balling to
be paid a lot of money for a
by
thing.
people for whatever, but something like that.
But like,
so like, oh, I don't need you to cover it. I got it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, when I invited y'all here, I assumed that you were going to explode a rocket through the thing.
You exploded
like,
the dance floor. That's fine. I
Yeah,
factor that in. That's overhead.
Exactly. That's what we
overhead.
do.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
I think that is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I got on boats. So I guess right after this, we're going to do History of Professor Cho on the subject of
the Queen's Guard. You know them. You love them.
Yes. Got them microphone hats.
Yes, I do.
Well, can't wait. Hold on there, y'all. Listen, we interrupt this hilarious podcast to talk to you about something truly funny. The untimely death of one of you poor bastards out there.
Oh, yeah, seriously. Someone listening to this nonsense right now could be dying, literally as you hear the sound of my voice.
And we see y'all out at the shows. Based on how some of you are looking, it might not just be one of you about to kick over.
Now, the real question is, do you have life insurance? Do you have anything set up if something were to happen to you tomorrow? If not, go to GoliathLife.com and get that shit taken care of.
We're having a good time with y'all, but life insurance is important. Think about this recent situation. A man, 54, wife and kids, paying less than $170 a month for a select standard policy. Sadly, this man passed from COVID, but fortunately for his family, that small monthly payment turned into a $500,000, $500,000 death benefit paid out in full.
GoliathLife.com has made buying life insurance ridiculously easy. You basically do the whole thing without any of the silly conversations. It's all online, and you choose your terms and payments that fit your budget.
And if you do end up going through and getting the medical exam, they'll come to you at your house or even your sorry-ass job you've got if you're not too embarrassed about it.
GoliathLife.com makes buying life insurance simple. Get multiple quick quotes right now from the comfort of your own home or trailer park and begin your application in a few easy clicks right now at GoliathLife.com.
And with Conrad.com can help you get to the house you want and the monthly payment you want. It's that simple. Buywithconrad.com makes it fast and easy, and we can do it for you too. You don't need perfect credit to do this, and you may not even need a down payment, but you need to buy a house. Imagine if you'd done this 2 years ago. You might already have a ton of equity. Wealthy people, successful people, smart people don't rent. Do the smart thing. Buy a house. And the first step, well, is to go to buywithconrad.com. Buywithconrad.com is going to do more than just get you pre-approved like everybody else trying to buy a house right now. You see, in this competitive market, you need an edge to have the winning bid on your next house. And buywithconrad.com can get you completely underwritten before you write an offer. That allows you to negotiate like a cash buyer because you can close faster. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Seriously, get the house you want and the payment you want right now at buywithconrad.com.
Yes, everyone's favorite segment, History with Professor Cho. The subject today, the Queen's Guard. I always like to give you a little breakdown of what I already know about the subject at hand. And with the Queen's Guard, it's pretty limited. All I know is they wear the hats and they wear the fancy red suits, and they ain't allowed to show emotion. They're robots. People fuck when you go up and show them your dick or whatever, and they got to just stand there and still defend the queen or whatever. That's all I know about them.
Well, that is that is also pretty much all that I knew about them.
Can I tell you a thing I assume about them, but don't know? I assume, though, that, yeah, they just silly uniform wearing motherfuckers outside the thing that you ain't allowed to fuck with, but people do fuck with or whatever. But I also always assume that they're actually super fucking badass.
Very.
I figured. It's like the Swiss Guard, is it called? The people that defend the Pope, they're dressed like jesters, but they're some of the baddest motherfuckers on planet Earth. I assume the Queen's Guard is also like that.
Well, they are.
That is everything.
Because at the end of the day, even though a lot of it is for show, they still are technically charged with protecting the Queen of England.
Right.
So, like, they are... they are some of the more badass, like, I guess what we would consider, like, over here, like, Green Berets and shit like that.
Navy SEALs.
Yeah, like they're super, super badass. So an overview, the Queen's Guard, of course, is the group of soldiers, both infantry and cavalry, who are charged with protecting the residence of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. And as you could probably guess, like if, whenever she dies, they will become the King's Guard.
Yes.
Yes, because
that makes sense.
That's how that goes. And they are made up of some bitches both on foot and horse, and their service dates back to King Charles II, who reigned from 1660 to 1685, and they have been protecting the royal family ever since. But yeah, as you were saying, to become a Queen's Guard member, you have to take the BARB, which is the British Army Recruit Battery Test. You also have to be at least 5'10". It used to be 6 foot, by the way, and before that it was 6'2", which, like...
What?
I know. To me...
It used to be taller?
Yes, I know.
Had to be... That's wild to me. Who the fuck was over 6'2" back in the day?
I know, like, I was reading that, and, like, I couldn't find any reasons as to why they would have changed it. Because, like, you would think, like, now it's like, we need them to be bigger.
They would change it in the other direction.
Yeah, because back then, fucking 5'10" was goddamn huge. Like, me and you would have been monsters back in the 1800s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's that, like, nowadays, I don't know if that's like surely it's not a PC thing, right?
Yeah, this is,
They don't
short
do that.
erasure or whatever. It's like, it's tender, you know?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like, if you ain't 6 feet, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And then you ask them how much they weigh, and they're like, you motherfucker, how dare you?
Get the fuck off me. I don't care how big my titties is.
Yeah, so they're actually broken down into 5 different regiments: the Grenadier Guards, the Coldstream Guards, the Scots Guards, the Irish Guards, and last but not least, unless you like go by order, in which it is the least, the Welsh Guards. Which did you know?
I feel like Welsh is.
Do you know that Welsh don't
hit?
They don't hit for them.
They would be the least. Well, okay, you said Scotch and Irish Guards. Don't Scots and also Irish not hit for them?
Yeah.
We talked about Prince Philip, and one of his quotes was, in Scotland, he was like, how do you keep the natives off the booze long enough to drive the trolley, or whatever the fuck he said.
They don't hit for them, but they joined it first. I guess, like, they conquered them first, so, like, maybe that's a thing. But, like, I've always thought, like, when I heard, like, the Prince of Wales, I was like, oh, that must be, like, you know, something cool. But, like, that don't hit for none of them.
No.
The Welsh hate that shit.
They're sheep fuckers.
Yeah, the Welsh hate that shit.
Not to me.
Right, of course.
I don't believe the Welsh are sheep, but I'm saying, like, wait, are the Scots sheep fuckers? They all fuck sheep, don't they? According to England, like, the English hate on a lot of people, but I'm saying the Welsh are like, they're like the rednecks over there, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, I know everything I know about that whole situation is 100% based on watching The Crown season 3. Like, that's it. Just because Prince Charles has to go over there and, like, learn about their stuff because he's the Prince of Wales or whatever. And only then did I realize, A, that it was even a different country, because I'm a fucking idiot. Like, I just thought Wales was like a city in England or something like that, because I don't know fucking shit. And then go over there and find out that, like, you know, they don't like it, the fact that, like, they have him as the prince. They want to be their own thing. That's a big thing with all them, is like they want to be their own thing, and England is just like, but you're part of us. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the whole thing with the whole world. They all wanted to be their own thing, and England was like, no, that ain't it.
Yeah, and we got out.
You gonna be us.
You gonna be us. But, like,
and matter of fact, you should thank us for us allowing you to be us.
Because before y'all were
you're
us.
You're welcome that you're us now.
Before y'all
what you were, that didn't hit.
Right.
Now you're us, and you still don't hit.
Right.
But, like, you're at least kind of us. So.
Matter of fact, before you were us, you didn't hit, which is the reason we were able to make you us. Had you hit, you wouldn't be us right now, which is why, hey, up top.
Although the French, they ain't us, and they also don't hit.
Yeah, man. That's a whole episode for another day, is like that very, very wild relationship between the French and the, like, because as you pointed out before, the French just don't really
hit for anybody. No.
Like, at all.
No, well, I mean,
least of all, papaws.
Seems like they're uppity assholes, seems to me, based on what everybody else says about them. You know, I think it's just the way that they talk and sounds.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get over here.
Americans, they are pigs. They are pigs.
Their face look like piss.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, French people, if you're listening to this, we like you. We think you're great. But me and Trae are like, we're like the French of the South, right?
Yeah,
what
queers.
You say?
Yes. Yeah. The queers that think they're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
But can't hold up in a fight. Yeah, we're the French of the South.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you were mentioning earlier is that you said one thing I know about them is that they are not allowed to react to you. That is very false.
Oh, okay.
That is 100% false. Now, like,
that's weird.
It's kind of like,
that's definitely a thing that people think, right?
Yeah, to their detriment, or to their. Did I use the word?
Yeah, you did. You nailed it.
Okay,
don't doubt yourself, baby. You nailed it.
But every time I don't doubt myself, I'm wrong, and you go, really? That's how you think that word should be?
Yeah,
used?
but if I don't do that, then just keep rolling.
Yeah, that's true. I should. Okay, but it's kind of like they do it kind of like how we do with hecklers, where it's like the first time they're like, okay, I don't want no trouble. Maybe they'll stop. Maybe the second time they're like, okay, but like, they are absolutely allowed to, at bare minimum, take a step forward and yell at you like you've never been yelled before in your life. But also, like, I've seen videos and stuff where, like, if they, look at it. Watch this video right here. Yeah, look at this dude. He's just trying to be like, oh, I hit.
Oh, shit.
Dude.
Oh, my God.
Knocked his ass the fuck out.
He bodied that motherfucker. And then
he's out. And he goes right back to it.
Dude, that's real?
That's real. That's absolutely
that
100.
motherfucker's out cold, dog.
Well, because again, he just got hit in the fucking face by one of the most highly trained men in Britain. He probably didn't even hit him that hard. He just like knew right below there, right? Boom.
And then he immediately had to he just straight up squared his silly hat back up and went back to being a robot.
Goes right back to his thing because, again, his job is to protect the queen. And if you try to throw him off his shit, like, these guys also, man, like, not for nothing, like, they have a pretty rough day. Like, I
bet, dude.
Well, first off, okay, I'm wearing this.
You got motherfuckers doing the robot up in your face all goddamn day long.
Even if everything went fine, like, I'm sitting here right now, this is very much, I don't know if y'all know this, but a fake one of these. And I'm burning up right now.
Yeah.
I'm about to die. They have to stand out in the summer heat, completely full bore outfit.
What about it rains all the time over there?
It does rain.
That getting rained on has got to not hit.
No, it doesn't hit because, number one, these things can end up weighing up to like 9 pounds. And also, did you know that like this ain't just like a thing that they wear when they're standing for the Queen's Guard? Like they used to wear this shit in battle.
That is just so impractical.
They did it because they got it from the French, and it was a way that they could look more intimidating because they're taller.
Sure, yeah.
And I look at that and I'm like, yeah, I'm real scared of that fucking piece of shit.
That's literally the whole thing with it to the rest of the world now is how goofy they look.
I know.
Like, it's surprising that they're bad. It's like, oh, wait, they are actually intimidating? Because I never would have thought that based on how ridiculous they look.
Right. So these things like stock, they're actual bear skin.
But, dude, I got to say, a motherfucker dressed like a microphone clown whipping your ass
is the most humiliating thing.
Right, yeah. So I kind of get it from that perspective.
But yeah, it's not just that. It's not just when they're like fucking with you. Like if they are doing, especially during the changing of the guards, which is like a huge ceremony over there. Like when they walk, like they have a certain, like they walk all the way from I can't remember where to like Buckingham Palace. Like it's a pretty big march and like it's a fest, a thing.
Hertfordshire upon Avon,
something like that. But like they have a direct line that they walk on, and they do not veer an inch either way.
Cocking them down,
and if you stand in front, cocking them down, is that a real place, or are you just talking shit?
I bet it is. I made it up, but I bet it is.
You're real good at that. I bet you could name new paints. But like if someone's like, oh, I'm going to stand in the line of these people and get in their way. Well, that's the last thing you'll ever do because they will just fucking forearm you in the throat and then step over you because they're on the. So like, none of that is true. Like they're absolutely allowed to fuck with you.
That is so weird, especially in the age of social media and stuff. That is so weird that perception has persisted. Mm-hmm. Because if they're able to just fucking knock your punk ass out like they clearly are. How do people go on believing that you can just do that shit?
That's
wild.
They just do that in movies so many times as a gag that like people are like, oh, cool, I want to do that, which is like kind of how I feel about when people share like heckling videos for comedy shows. I'm like, y'all just quit. I don't give a shit that how much you owned them. Quit sharing that shit because then that makes people want to do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So every movie that comes out when they're like blah, 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 in their face, it's like, those guys are like, oh, blimey, Jesus fucking Christ. But like, again, like even on a good day, these dudes like, it's nothing for them to sit there and get heat exhaustion because again, I want to get back to this. These things like, look at this. Yeah. Run that back one more time, Russ. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, dumb bitch. You don't hit. Like, get the fuck out of my face.
Just keep fucking toy soldiering his ass right down the line. Because they're
supposed to look regal at all times, and you can't.
Oh, he pushed the fuck out of her.
You can't let something like that interrupt you, because then you look like anybody can just
look like a bitch. You can't look like no bitch.
Of course. Damn it. That's what I'm saying, dog. But like
trying to make me look like a bitch with my fucking.
But like on that, like
furry hat on.
These things weigh like upwards of like just 2 to 3 pounds like stock, and they can weigh more because they're made out of bear skin, and so like it could just be a heavier coat. They're made out of black bear skin. One of the groups, I think it was the Scots Guard, I guess they don't hit for them, and they're just like, we'll use a brown bear and we'll just dye it black. But they're very heavy, and then when they get rained on, they can weigh up to 13 pounds, which is why, by the way, whenever you see those dudes, they actually don't have it. they don't have the strap under their chin like I have it here. They have it, and it's right here, which looks kind of stupid.
I've always wondered why I just assumed it was some sort of antiquated uniform requirement.
Well, it's a uniform requirement if you don't want your neck snapped in half, because it goes back to when they actually used to wear these in battle. If you have it under here and that thing weighs 9 pounds, the people wouldn't even have to hit you with a sword. They literally could just run up and hit that, and it will snap your fucking neck.
Yeah,
like that's that just will happen. Which just quit doing that, because if you're wearing it like this,
don't wear it.
Then it doesn't help. Like none of that. Look at this shit. Also, cut your goddamn bangs, Lord,
dude. That is absurd,
dude.
Look at that thing.
It's absolutely insane. And
so that weighs 13 pounds and also could snap their neck.
It would if they had those chains. But
you're saying the reason they wear it on their chin the way they below their upper lip is because if some Frenchman walked up and smacked it with a glove or whatever Frenchmen do, then it would just like fly off. It would fly off the back.
Yes.
Instead of catching their chin
and snapping their fucking neck.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not and also like if you've got
you don't want your elite soldiers getting bitch slapped to death by the French.
Of course not. But like, God
just
forbid,
take that hat off.
Yeah, God forbid we just like take the fucking Shure mic off the top of their goddamn head. Like, let's just like make them wear their chin strap in a way that doesn't hold the thing on, so that they can't. Like, if they start running, like it's gonna come off and shit like that. But because they're wearing that, I don't know if you know. Again, this really bottles in the heat. It's like that episode. I think I've brought up an episode of Seinfeld on every single episode of this, but like it's that episode of Seinfeld where George gets like a moleskin hat and he doesn't even wear a jacket in the winter because it bottles. I'm literally burning up right now. Yeah. The only reason you can't see sweat pouring is because it's caught in this thing.
Well, you're starting to glisten.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But they will, I mean, they get heat exhaustion a lot. When they're sitting there guarding the queen, they have to stand there for like, I think it's like they stand there for 4 hours, then they get a 2-hour break. And they are allowed to every 10 minutes they have to take off and like start walking so that they can like look at this. You see that guy faint? Heat exhaustion. Yeah. But would you like to know something about this? Even the way they faint is regulated.
How is that possible?
It's called faint. They are trained.
What?
They are trained to when they faint.
Faint discipline?
It's called fainting to attention.
What?
They have to faint in a certain way that they're holding their gun and that they still land a certain way.
Is that not the whole thing with fainting? Is that you've lost control of your faculties or whatever?
They're trained to know when it's coming. And again, it's like, why don't you just make their fucking outfits out of like breathable cotton or something like that? Or like let them wear Under Armour shit. But it's like, no, we have to keep all that regular. We'll just teach them that if they faint, then they have to fall a certain way, and if they don't, they get like their pay docked and shit like that. Like it's pretty rough. And you would think, you're like, oh well, I mean, you know, they are the Queen's Guard. They are these highly trained military men. They've got to follow all these rudimentary things. They have to push people out of the way. They have to be humiliated on a daily basis. If they faint, they literally have to faint in a certain way. I'm sure they're compensated pretty well. Do you know how much these motherfuckers make? $26,000 American dollars a year.
What?
Yeah, 26,000.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have thought it was great, but I would have thought it was more than that.
Yeah, no, I would too. I would have thought like 55.
$26,000.
I would have thought like 55,000 or something like that.
Do they live on like the equivalent of a base or something where all their shit is paid for, all their meals and lodging is paid for? I mean, that still don't hit.
I actually don't think so. Like I think I remember in my research thinking like surely they have some sort of like what we would call like parsonage or whatever for like a preacher or something like that. But like I don't think they do. I think it's just
these
like
motherfuckers.
Do they just have like regular jobs?
I don't know. They have to supplement it somehow. Russ, look that up. See if there is some sort of, see if they live on like some sort of military base. But I really don't, like, I don't think they do. And they also aren't like, earlier when we were talking about they weren't allowed to react to people. That's only true in the sense of they're not allowed to laugh or smile, which is so hilarious.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That, like, they are allowed to, but like, if someone makes you happy, you can't show that.
No, none of that.
Like if some little girl gave them like a daisy or something, they're not allowed to be like, oh, thank you. But they will get docked a week's pay. Like if they get caught laughing or smiling, they get docked a week's pay. However, it's perfectly acceptable. Like if a little girl walked up to them to hand them a flower, it would be better for them to uppercut a 5-year-old than it would be to go,
joy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
or
like
appreciation.
that would not. Yeah, look here. The top earners 55,000, but like 20. Like, look, I'm still right. Like the most of them is getting fucking 24 grand. Still 55. Like that still ain't shit.
No,
for
dude.
what they're having to fucking do.
Right.
But yeah, they're not allowed to smile. They're not allowed to laugh. They only make $26,000 a year, and you won't believe this. But they also, and not them, but like I guess the British military are in constant legal battles with PETA because of the bear skin.
Use real bear.
They use real bear. And how you think that goes?
They keep doing it, don't
Of
they?
course.
Yeah.
Nobody and the reason is like they've tried before using like faux fur and then like dyeing it bearskin black, and it just never really works. And when it gets wet, it runs. So like again, like when it comes, like we over here, like I mean, for the record, like so many things that are like PC is like, yeah, that's how it ought to be, you know. And so I'm not complaining, but like over there, they don't cower in the way that we do to that shit, especially the royals.
The
like
Queen, yeah.
we talked about it in that Prince Philip thing. Like I remember when Prince Philip died and people were reading his quotes, they're like, God damn, how did they allow this man to go on? I was like, what do you mean who's allowing anything? Like he can do literally whatever the fuck that it is. Russ, can you pull up that fucking clip of the most British man that we've ever seen in our entire lives talking about the Queen's Guard?
Yes.
This really hit for me.
You want to put you got your
Yeah, I've got my shit in. Thank you. And by the way, producer Russ, give it up for producer Russ, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Look at this fucking
You
guy.
can already tell.
The most British guy I've ever seen in my life.
That man eats an egg out of a cup.
The world's great heroes, there's none that can compare with the ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra of the British Grenadiers.
That way he just like accentuates it with a little squint at the end of like, of the British Grenadiers.
Like he was having a stroke in the middle of that.
How much you think colonialism hits for that?
Oh, the
motherfucker,
most,
dude?
most at the top of his list.
He wishes they'd never give that up. We should have kept taming the rest of the world. That's what we should have done. That guy thinks.
Without a doubt. So a couple more things about him before we get out of here. I said they weren't allowed to laugh or smile. Another thing that I thought really, really sucked about their day-to-day, aside from like the fainting and all that stuff, they have to repolish their shoes every single day because literally just standing in that sun melts their shoes. So like this is how hot these motherfuckers are.
I didn't even know it got that hot in England.
I
That's wild.
I guess it's just like if you're standing in one spot all day where they're standing, like probably just during the summer. I'm sure for the most part they're just cold as fuck,
right?
You know,
and wet.
But like that's how that goes. And these guys who again they're like literally like they're there to guard the Queen, and this is kind of how they get treated. But at least they do an important job, right? They protect the Queen because of how many attempts on her life. Surely to God there have been over the years. Trae, would you like to guess the number of attempts on the Queen's life that the Queen's Guard? By the way, also another thing, their guns aren't loaded, and I don't know like that anybody if that's common knowledge. Because if it was,
why do they have guns?
I don't know.
If the whole world knows that their guns aren't loaded, why do they have guns?
I don't know that the whole world knows that, but I was able to find. I mean, I'm on the fucking like I can find some shit that like
yeah.
WikiLeaks.
How many actual attempts. On the royal livelihood or the royals' lives that they have prevented in their history? I'm gonna say 3.
1, and they don't count Michael Fegan.
Yeah, the poor dude who broke into the Queen's chambers and did all that fucking
and they don't count him
shit.
Because like at the end of the day they realized like he actually wasn't there to kill anybody, like he was just like wanting to talk to the Queen.
They should still count.
They should,
because like he still got in there. He could have been there to kill the Queen, and it would have counted very much if he had of. So it's like they're kind of.
I mean, I feel
they're
like
kind of 1 and 1.
I mean,
to me,
I kind of feel like the Queen probably counts it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's a them thing where they're just like, oh, technically, because they just don't want to have that on their record. But like literally.
People that haven't watched The Crown or don't know what the fuck we're talking about, this guy, Michael Fagan or whatever, was a dude who broke into the Queen's chambers
got into
twice.
Didn't
he? Broke into it twice.
I don't know
think?
if it was twice, but I do know he got the fuck in there.
in the
Like,
Crown,
walked
I'm
around
pretty much
Buckingham Palace.
in the Crown, I think they portray it that he did it 2 times.
But
I think.
he only talked to her once. Like, he scoped it out the first time, right?
Either way,
dude, it's wild.
right?
Like, can you imagine?
But he
Dude, I
broke
can't
in there
imagine
just to like have a chat with her and be like, "Hey, it don't hit how the poor are."
Dude,
And
I
she
can't
was like,
imagine breaking
"Yes."
into fucking Alec Baldwin's house, let alone
Right.
goddamn Buckingham Palace. But like, yeah, there's only been per them one attempt on the Queen's life ever. Even though apparently it's common knowledge that these dudes' guns ain't loaded and they probably, I don't know, like they're just sitting there fainting all the goddamn time. But like, yeah, that is the Queen's Guard. My main takeaway, if there is one, is like, regardless of what you thought you heard, do not fuck with these guys
Yeah,
at all.
fuck what you heard.
Mm-hmm. Fuck what you heard. And speaking of fuck what you heard, I gotta take this son of a bitch
All
off. 'cause,
right.
like,
Couple of little last minute things. I didn't find anything about the room and board. I did see that the average hourly pay is like $16.40
that
or something.
ain't it.
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me.
And then
Yeah.
this here, they're obviously never allowed to leave their post, so they just have to piss their pants.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But to me, honestly, that was just kind of like assumed.
So they
Normal.
got them. That's why they got them dark pants.
Yeah, this
so they
says
can pee
woolen
in them, and the French
pants.
won't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up this edition of Putting On Airs. Corey's got to go towel his head down, and made us back here next week for another stirring edition. Airheads.
And here's Lydia Lovelace.
So you love you. Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at Putting On Airs, Putting On Airs.